Okay, we are going to push forward here. I know we have some time, but welcome everybody to the Ortelius Visionary Summit, May 2023, the Beer and Donuts edition on Zoom. This is where we all get together and talk about random things and then go through some important aspects of what we've done in the last 6 months. I keep in mind that we try to structure the open source project so that there's ways for everybody to participate. We do the blogathon in the early part of the year, February through April. For coding, we do the DigitalOcean Hacktoberfest. And then every 6 months, we get together and we applaud those who receive badges. So today is more about badges than anything, but keep in mind, we also include submittals for presentations so people can get better at presentations. Sasha Wharton's a perfect example. We should see one of his early ones compared to his later ones. And potentially prepare content for other like CDCon or potentially KubeCon sometime in the future. So it teaches us all to present and do better at presenting. And we do that every 6 months. So we create many ways for everybody to get involved in the process. Because we need to stay on schedule, I'm going to go ahead and push forward here and go through the badges, even though we obviously are waiting for some other individuals to get started. But before I do, I decided just to quickly let's go through the agenda. We have we'll do keynotes. I'm going to talk about messaging and give out badges. Simon's going to go over our outreach. Steve's going to again review the Ortelius architecture, and Andrew will be on to talk about the hey Jude, to talk about Emporus so that we're all starting to understand really what a universal object reference is. Afterwards, we're going to do some lightning talks. We'll do games and some alien videos. Myself, Tony Corrado, Joseph, and Sasha. It has a late entry on certification, which did make it to the agenda. So sorry, Sasha, but he will be presenting as well. And so let me just get started with new messaging. As many of you know who have been with us for a while now, we've been pivoting quite a bit. And it's important that we all keep up on the messaging, but it feels like this one we've all pivoted together, which is great. We're all starting to understand where we fit into the process and our core benefit in terms of federating all of this security and DevOps intelligence. So I know you may have seen this screen, but I'm going to go over it again in case you want to present somewhere. This will give you the ability to hear it from me, instead of trying to come up with your own definition of the screen. So when I talk about Ortelius, I talk about it in terms of what problem it's solving. And one of the problems is this trapped supply chain intelligence, trapped across pipelines and in containers. The way we create this kind of data is we do it based on a pipeline. And in a microservices environment, every single microservice has its own pipeline and generates its own logs and data. For example, software bill of materials reports, CVE reports are specific to a particular object like a container. The release versions, what version of a container is running in which cluster, when did it get changed, and what did it impact? That's just some of the basic data that is needed to be able to say, I have a vulnerability. Now I need to understand what other containers have that same vulnerability because they're using that same software. Connected, if one thing has a problem and it shares itself with other services, those services have a problem. Now, we've, according to McKinsey & Company, 65 to 80% of companies are looking for more visibility into their logs along the discussion of application security. So companies are realizing that this really critical log information is siloed across all these containers and all these build pipelines. And they don't have the ability to create and capture actionable insights. So what Ortelius is offering by federating this data is the ability to create actionable insights in minutes versus days by searching through the logs and scanning SBOMs, and to continuously expose these non-compliant services to improve application security. And as a result, it improves site reliability response by as much as 50% because SREs have at their fingertips what they need to fix something, or at least notify the developers that something needs to be fixed, or go ahead and push forward a new service that's been fixed by the owner of the service and is being consumed across multiple clusters, multiple namespaces that needs to be deployed out. Now, interesting enough, at CDCon, I discovered this. This graph was from the Fidelity case study. I recommend everybody go read it. It is called, let me see if I can get the camera to see it. Securing Fidelity Investment Software Supply Chain. And it's available out on the CD Foundation under white papers and case studies. This is what we're doing. This pipeline intelligence and evidence store to create this pipeline data, that is what Ortelius is doing. Now, in Fidelity's case, they built it homegrown. I'm sure it's an excellent solution, but I wonder, and I'm hoping to get more insight on this, if they're doing the versioning and the dependencies across all clusters. Because that's really where you can bring some serious value. If you know what's not just what was created in the pipeline, but what was created in the pipeline, the logs and visibility associated to the pipeline, and then mapped to what's actually running in all the clusters and which versions. Because you could have a service that is running in your production environment and it has multiple versions because it's being installed in multiple locations and it got updated and only one cluster updated it. So take a look at this, this case study. It's an interesting one. I have reached out to the folks at Fidelity to see if they'd be willing to talk to us, and so we can compare notes on the kind of data we're each storing and what we might be missing collectively. So that is the new messaging. Pretty tight around, federating data, DevOps intelligence, pipeline intelligence, and an evidence store. Anybody have any questions on that discussion?
No, I don't have any questions. Sorry. Oh no. Do you want someone else want to go? I just wanted to say I think this is awesome. I think it's I think this is exactly where we fit in, and I loved how, like you said, Tracy, you put the nail on the head by saying Ortelius has really moved into a good space, right?
Yes.
And I think you hit it on the head too, where we all. Definitely the core members of Ortelius are moving all together now, right? We've really got traction. All of us are understanding where Ortelius fits into this whole CI/CD thing. Because I must say in the beginning, I was very lost because I'm obviously new to the whole microservices world and CI/CD, and there's so many moving parts, but I'm really getting it. Like, I really understand where we fit, and it's nice. It's really nice to understand that.
Yeah, we've all pivoted together on this. This has come from discussions and our architecture calls and even our outreach calls. It's been great to watch the evolution.
And that's why I think it's so important. You just attend meetings. Like sometimes I've been in architecture meetings and, I don't know, I don't understand what I'm listening to, but I'm just listening. And the more I've listened to Steve and explain things and ask questions, the more the lights have get brighter, right? And you start to understand better. And I think Ortelius is positioned in such an awesome space. It's really exciting, actually. Yeah,
it is.
Well done to everybody.
It's very exciting.
Right?
No, I applaud the entire team. We've done an amazing job of evolving to this place.
Yeah, I think so too.
Simon, we got any comments on that?
No, I think if you look at this, if you look at the ecosystem right now, I think microservices got a lot of attraction. Is not just a debate for the bigger companies. it's a debate for everyone. For the small startup, I think who never ever has heard about before this term microservices, they're investing heavily because I think the containers, Kubernetes, this wave is actually paved the way for the microservices. And there are some communities working on improving the different aspect of this bigger picture. But I think in terms of the work we are actually doing, that is absolutely mandatory. It's not just necessary, it's mandatory. Otherwise, you feel a lot of the pain. And I think if you look at the ecosystem, there's a lot of debate around platform engineering, self-service, supply chain security. And if you look at the model that we're actually giving to the people, is bake in some of the security aspect, plus the versioning is a huge issue in the markets, microservices. If you convert your monolithic app into the microservices, this means your app is now in 4-5 different places. And as soon as we actually update, upgrade, or patch, your versioning or keep on upgrading as well. So I think that we live in the place we actually help a lot of the other communities to make their life actually easy without being actually building some of the tools. We have to give them actually one portal or one catalog. They actually can see all the continuous integration, continuous delivery pipeline, the prod system, all things they actually have it in one place as well. So I think we're moving in a wonderful place. I think we just need to add our more voices into the larger ecosystem so they can know what incredible work we're actually doing behind the scene.
Which brings me to a discussion that Arvind started with me via an email. Now we have outreach, and I think we've got a really great outreach program. But what Arvind would like to see or like to participate in is to do more very specific developer outreach. I don't know how we tweak our outreach to be more developer centric. I think that doing some of certainly our Visionary Summit, where we get to do these videos, helps with that. But maybe as we move forward, as we start bringing Emporis in, we start thinking about very specific developer outreach efforts. How do we reach developers in a more precise way? And that may mean that we need to do a little bit of work on our personas to see exactly who we want to do outreach to, and come up with some outreach programs that Deploy Hub could help fund. So let's think about that going into the next half of this year. What kind of specific developer outreach programs we can add to the programs that we already do, which is time consuming and requires a lot of work. But I'm trying to recruit some folks to help with that. Jude Wellington joined. Jude Wellington is a friend I met through Brian Dawson. We hit it off immediately. And Jude is a community builder. So maybe he can help with that. Because boy, Simon, you've already got a huge plate with your podcast and everything you already do. How can we bring some more, increase the size of our cavalry to build this out? Jude, you want to say hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yourself? Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason I can't figure out why my camera is not on.
Yeah, me too. Can you see me in like the little window on the side?
No.
That's weird. Yeah. I understand. I was wondering.
Everybody else.
There is no option here.
Yeah, there's no option
camera.
to turn on the camera.
Yeah, exactly.
Weird.
Yeah.
Why do you guys have a camera not on?
I don't know. Maybe it's the sugar in the system from the beer and donuts. Who knows?
Aliens are already there.
Because we are running webinar mode.
It must be
Yeah, Tony.
you know what? It must be a setting in the because I had to set this up as a webinar. So I didn't push out the I didn't want to send out my Zoom invite to the world.
Okay.
So I had to do that.
Exactly
And that's
why.
probably why. And I'll look for a setting for the next time. Thank you for pointing that out, Sasha. I thought everybody was just
That also
being
turns
shy.
off chat, by the way, Tracy.
Yeah, the chat
Oh,
function.
it does. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Jude, please introduce yourself.
So Tracy, thank you so much for inviting me. And I was at CloudBees for 8 years and 4 months. So I was one of the employees under 100. So I was part of the the rise of Jenkins with enterprise sitting on top of Jenkins, and that's really what made CloudBees very, very successful. And I was on the event marketing team. I was involved in over 100 sponsored events throughout my time there, 7 DevOps World Conferences, over 25 cities as part of the road tour. So being involved in these type of activities to identify personas and to develop some sort of outreach program, I think I could definitely be of help. For example, Tracy, you had mentioned this screen from a Fidelity case study. I know 2 people at Fidelity. I'm not sure if you know Gerard McMahon already.
That is the person who wrote this.
Okay. He is a wonderful, wonderful person. He's just very open, willing to help. His other colleague, her name is Aoife, and it's spelled A-O-I-F-E, Fitzmaurice. She's the director of pipeline platforms, and another very open professional that's willing to share her thoughts and ideas on how they could be of assistance in spreading the message of what Ortelius can do to help. The question that I have, Tracy, is in terms of personas, are you trying to find specific personas that are wanting to implement this particular tool?
Yes.
Or, okay.
It is adoption.
Adoption, right?
Adoption is what we need to focus on. And I think Arvin was spot on when he said, let's try to build some very specific DevRel programs.
Mhm.
And that takes some thought and how we're going to do that, what kind of outreach we do.
And the adoption we may want to look at the adoption that Jenkins did going through the developer world instead of going from the ops or sec side.
Which brings me to another thought that I've had, and I spoke with Jude about this. I've spoke with Steve about it. The Jenkins community has been our mentor in putting together Ortelius. Most of you know that we had folks from the Jenkins community help us with our website, help us with our governing. Mark Waite spent an hour with us on how to set things up. So we're sort of a product of the Jenkins community. The Jenkins community is massive. If we could build a simple onboarding and an outreach program to the Jenkins community specifically, that would get us a long way in terms of adoption, I believe. It would also help the Jenkins community within the CD Foundation. Some of you may not have been watching what's happened with Jenkins over the years, but CloudBee passed Jenkins off to the CD Foundation. And it wasn't long after that they started to do some big investment in a product called Electric Cloud that had an electric flow, which was a CD pipeline. And they started giving less love to the Jenkins community over time. And the CD Foundation has not really given them as much love either. Now, I know that speaking with Bati, that's something that they want to improve. But if we could help, if we could focus our solution around the Jenkins community, I believe, and really make it easy for Jenkins adopters to start building this pipeline intelligence and evidence store. And I don't know, but Fidelity may be using Jenkins to do this as well, so we could get some insights from them. I think it would be a very good way to start our DevRel program. And I'll just leave it at that because this is beer and donuts. And that's just something to think about that we can work on over the course of the next 6 months. And Jude, thank you for introducing yourself and showing up today, because your leadership will be super helpful in this effort, since you have sort of you used to have your thumb on the heartbeat of the Jenkins developers.
And you know what's
Yes,
great is
so-
I still want to stay very involved with the Jenkins community. So I do know Mark Waite pretty well. I know Alyssa Tong, and of course Kosuke Kawaguchi. He and I have become actually, you know, pretty good friends. And I reached out to him the other day, and I just asked him. I said, "Hey, I really want to stay involved in the Jenkins community. Would you be open to maybe, you know, being a guest speaker if I'm able to stay on as the organizer for the Jenkins area meetup in San Francisco? I'm still listed as the organizer, but I need to get some confirmation, Tracy, maybe through Fatih, and maybe through Cloudbees, I'm not sure.
Well, I do the CDF online meetups, and that is probably the better place. That's a really good place to have Kosuke come back,
Yeah,
because that thing gets that gets pushed to the CD Foundation, and they spend a lot of time pushing that out through social media. So it's something we should chat about.
definitely. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
And
so-
I know, real quick, I just do know that Fidelity is a very big Cloudbees customer, so they use Jenkins for sure.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
suspected that.
So Tracy, yes, absolutely. So Tracy, I think like if you look at the ecosystem where it's actually heading, we are very much aligned with number one Project 6 store in the community who are actually giving the signing and verification. I think if we look at the picture, if you look at the puzzle piece, one of the puzzle pieces that actually they are solving is helping them, giving the people the secure base images, number one, and the signing and verification is easier than ever. I think they are really happy with the stuff that we are working, because we actually make each of our life very easier. So I think it's more happy. I think the next step should be we can join the Project 6 store meeting, their weekly meeting happening on Wednesday and Thursday, and ask us to join our meeting as well, because the picture works very well if this we have the 6 store community is actually have a more friendship and more communication going. But over to you, Nora, now.
I think it's a great idea. Maybe we should talk about in the architecture meeting, somebody who's willing to step up and be the 6 store rep.
Oh,
Be really
and-
great.
And talking about other projects, we have a meeting coming up, I think in a week or two, with the folks from the Guac open source community, and Guac is something that we may be able to use. It does the graphing of the dependencies. You know, the information that we're gathering, they may be able to display. So we're going to have a meeting coming up. I'll have
Who's
to
it?
double check.
Yeah, who's running that? Because I know a bunch of people in the Guac community. Michael,
Somebody from
Michael-
Google, I want to say Brendan Land.
Yeah, Brenda Lamb. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the we're going to just do an introduction about the two products to each other, I believe, and see if there's a way forward for us to leverage each other's technology.
Andy, do you want to be on that initial call?
Yeah, if you can invite me, that'd be great.
I will do so. If you're not on a plane traveling to some foreign land, we'd love to have you on that call.
I'll do my best.
Okay, let's push forward. Thank you for that discussion, everybody. You know, in concluding that, I just want to say, wow, we've done an amazing job of getting Ortelius out there. It's getting a lot of great exposure. It was one of the, you know, the more active projects for the CD Foundation, and OpenSSF is starting to recognize what we're doing. So everything's going really well in terms of community awareness about what we do, and adoption is next. All right, let's talk about who got badges. Our bronze ambassador recipients. Now, bronze ambassadors are individuals who have at least taken the step to do at least one blog. They may have been involved in doing something else. And Andy, Alex, Neetu, Joseph, and Afzal all contributed blogs. Neetu, Joseph, and Afzal were part of the blogathon. And Andy and Alex did an amazing blog on Emporus for our press release. So congratulations to all of them. They should have everybody should have their badges. I spent time yesterday sending badges out, so everybody should have their badges. Tony has had a very busy year. Tony is a Silver Ambassador recipient based on many things that he's worked on, but he has done some presentations for us now, and he has written a couple of blogs. So thank you, Tony, for making it up to the Silver Ambassador recipient level. And we have some gold recipients. Utkars and Sasha are neck and neck in almost everything they do. It's really fun to watch. They are.
I get it from Utkarsh. Sorry, I get it from Utkarsh.
Oh, come on.
So congratulations from getting up to the gold level. It takes a lot to get to the gold level for this. I would say that in terms of the programs that we offer, there is a very clear path for getting up to the gold level ambassador. Champion's a little more difficult. I'm gonna talk a little bit about that. But kudos to both of you, because both of you are at silver right now in champions, which means if you make it to silver to champions, you automatically become our first gold legends, and we're really hoping to get a gold legend. Previous gold ambassadors include Siddharth and Syme. I just wanted to, make sure we acknowledge that the two of you were not first. Syme and Siddharth charted the course to get there. And our champions. So I brought everybody who contributed to Emporus. We don't have the stats for the Emporus team, but I know all four of these individuals have put a lot of time into Emporus. So we brought them in as bronze champions. Tony, Adam, and Devendran, thank you so much for the efforts you've put into this to start on your journey as a part of the architecture efforts. I know that there's so much to do in this project. We so appreciate input on architecture and creating pull requests, opening issues, and fixing bugs. Everybody's doing an awesome job. Yay, Arvin. Arvin is a silver champion recipient. Arvin has met the level for pull requests. Arvin reminds me of myself. Arvin is always willing to jump in and step up to something, even if he has no idea how to do it. He just figures out, he will figure it out. And Arvin, it's been awesome to watch you change and grow over the course of time. And bring us more university students, go replicate yourself. We could use more of you. And yes, we have our first gold champion recipient, Mr. Brad McCoy. And look at his GitHub stats. 528 pull requests, 48 open issues, 80 comments, and 31 reviews. This man, I don't know when he sleeps, to be quite honest. I know I have my email set so I can see what's happening on the GitHub, and sometimes I'll come in and it's got all kinds of stuff that Brad's been working on. Brad is on the other side of the planet, so he's not often at these this event. We wish he could be, but I know it's probably sometime like 2 or 3 in the morning for him at this point. But Brad, we love you. We feel your support, and it's an honor to have you on the team. And he's not that far away from becoming a legend. Tony also jumped up to a legend status, so he is now a legends person at the bronze level. Congratulations, Tony, and thank you for the work on the architecture. And because Arvin was already has reached silver in both categories, Arvin is now a silver legend. So he's got Arvin, you got a lot of work to do to get up to that gold level on the champion side, but it's possible. So in the running for our first gold legend is Brad, Utkarsh, Sasha, and Arvind. Good luck to you all. We have tons of coding to do. Be like Arvind, go, okay, I'll do it. And then, or Sasha, I'll do it and I'll figure it out as we go. And because that's how you learn, and that's how you grow, and that's how you build an awesome piece of open source code.
And Utkarsh, I think you're still like one pull request short.
And
From getting there.
No way.
And literally one
One.
presentation.
Come on,
Oh.
Utkarsh. The medal's waiting for you.
It is. It
Yo.
is. I have faith that we will have a few, I'm hoping by, in our December holiday party, we can announce our first legends. This is a program that we've been working on now for what, 2 years? So it's, you know, we take it serious. It takes us, Steve and I, it takes us about a half a day to go through all the numbers and count everybody and make sure we haven't missed somebody. If we did miss you, especially on the outreach, it's harder to track the outreach than anything. Please tell us, reach out and say, hey, you forgot to give me, you know, I've done all of these, I've done more than 4. Why didn't I get credit for it? We have a spreadsheet and I try to keep the spreadsheet pretty accurate. Every time somebody does something, I go update it. And then Steve uses LFX Insights to generate the other information. It would be great
Actually,
if LFX
it's actually dev stats. LFX Insights doesn't have the data that we need. So we had
so it's dev stats.
So we had Fati enable dev stats for our repos. So we need to make sure when the Emporis repos get moved over that those are getting picked up as part of the dev stats as well. Because I had them write a specific query for our organization because we had so many old repos that we didn't need the stats on, like, you know, sample example repos and stuff like that for the pet store that was messing up all our numbers. So I had to have the developer for dev stats write a specific query so we can get the numbers correct for us. So as the Emporis repos come over, we just have to make sure that we get those stats taken care of.
Okay, and staying on schedule, I am going to turn it over to Syme. Syme, could you give us an update on our outreach activities?